Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
And today we'll be teaching you how to play Panda Spin.
Panda Spin. This game is designed by Carl Chuduk. It's published by Moongate Design, who helped sponsor this video.
Let's head on over to the table and learn the game. As always, you'll begin by setting up. You'll place the bamboo tiles next to the playing area, and each player will receive one to start. These are points. You'll then place the panda mood tile in the center area, picking a side to start. Lastly, you'll pick 5 element cards and shuffle them. To determine the starting player, each player will randomly draw an element card, and the player with the highest number will go first. The elements chosen will also dictate the suits of the cards you play with. If you're playing with 2 players, simply draw 1 more element card so you have 3 colors in total. Instead, you can also choose the elements you want to play with. Just ensure there's 1 per player count and 3 for 2 players. You're now ready to play. Let's jump into the core concepts before we dive into the specifics of the gameplay. Each suit of cards will have 13 animal cards, which have values and sometimes symbols, and an element card, which can only be played at a particular time or discarded at the start of your turn. The animal cards have 2 sides, white and blue. A core mechanic of this game will be spinning cards. When asked to spin, you'll flip cards from the white side to the blue side, often strengthening their value in your hand. Now the game of Panda Spin is played over rounds, in which you'll play cards aiming to obtain points. The game will end when one player has accumulated 15 or more points at the end of the round. That player is the winner. At the start of each round, the deck is shuffled and 12 cards will be dealt out to each player. You'll pick up your cards and ensure that the white sides are on top. You'll then set aside the cards not dealt out and a space for discard nearby. The first player is now ready to start their trick. In a trick, multiple players will play cards according to the rules of the game until all but one player passes. The cards you play are called your bid for this trick, and if you're the only player who hasn't passed, you'll win. Now when starting a trick, you can play 1 or more cards of a certain combination. Here are the combinations you'll see in this game. A single, which is 1 card. Now you can see cards range in value, and the highest value here is this symbol, which is a Chinese 2. Another combination you'll see is a set, which consists of 2 or more identical values. Another one is a run, which consists of 2 to 5 consecutive values. The Chinese 2 cannot be a part of this run. You can also form a formation, which is a set of runs, or a bomb, which is 4 identical values placed. Now water symbols may not be used to make a bomb. Now since I brought up the symbols, let's quickly go over them. When playing a card or cards, you'll always have to use a number on the card, but you can also optionally use the symbol underneath. Water symbols, for example, can be found on water cards and can be used as a wild in a set, run, or formation. A fire symbol may be used to discard a card from your hand when played. A bamboo symbol grants you a point for each card played with the symbol. And finally, the panda will depend on your panda mood tile. If playing with a hungry panda, each panda symbol will give you the ability to take 1 point from the player who played into the trick before you. While if playing with the spin panda, you'll be able to spin one of your cards in your hand from white to blue. Now let's get back to it. After the first player plays the combination, the next player will take their turn. Now, you'll have 3 options to beat that bid. You can play the same type of combination with the same number of values as in the current bid, but with a higher value. It's important to note that you'll have to play the same type of combination here. If someone played a single, you cannot play a pair to beat it. It has to be a higher value single card. Now another way you'll beat the bid is if you can play a bomb, which can only be beaten by a higher bomb. Or lastly, you can play a single element card and immediately win the trick if you meet the condition. You will have to draw 2 cards from the deck after you play the element. Now let's go over element cards quickly here. Each of them can only be played to win the trick after meeting a certain criteria. You may only play the water card if the highest bid has at least 3 values on it, whether they're the same or different. You can only play the wood card if the trick contains a Chinese 2 or the ace. You may only play the fire card if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, including the fire. You can only play the metal card if someone has played both white and blue sides to a trick. And finally, you may only play the earth card if the trick contains at least 1 panda symbol. As you can see, these are somewhat tricky to play. Because of this, at the start of your turn, you can choose to discard an element card from your hand unused, and contribute to the trick as you would otherwise. You will not skip a turn if you do this. Now, if on your turn you cannot or do not want to play, you can instead pass. When doing this, you will no longer be able to play any more cards for the rest of this trick, and if you have already played cards to this trick, you'll either spin or discard those cards. There's two cases that we'll see here. If you've passed and you've played cards that are all white sides up previously, you'll spin all of them and return them to your hand. The blue side is now active for each of these cards. Or if you've played at least one card with the blue side up to the trick and then chose to pass, you'll discard all the cards you have played to this trick to the discard pile. Now when all players pass, the remaining player is the winner of the trick. They'll discard all the cards that they have played. Now as a reminder, another way a trick can end is if someone plays an element card. They'll first draw 2 cards from the draw pile and add them to their hand white side up. Then they'll immediately win the trick and discard any cards contributed by them to the trick. All other players have to pass and will treat their cards accordingly, as we've just discussed. After a trick, if you have no more cards remaining in your hand, you've successfully shown out of the current round. Each player will count the cards in their hand, and you'll receive points equal to the most in a player's hand, up to a maximum of 7. If after this, at least 2 players have cards in their hand, you'll continue the round. Whoever won the previous trick starts. If this player has shown out, the player with the most cards will start instead. Once only one player remains with cards, you'll check to see if anyone has reached 15 points. If they have, they win. If not, you'll collect all the cards, shuffle them, and play an additional round, with the player with the fewest points being the start player for the next round. And that's Panda Spin. Now, just as a reminder, what you saw here is still a prototype of the game, and this game is coming to crowdfunding, which you can learn more about in the description down below.
And of course, if you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here, because we love building our board game community.
Empire! Now, for a question of the day, what animal would you love to see a board game made for?
Ooh. Let us know down in the comments below, and until next time, we will see you later. Bye!